So friends, a very good morning to all of you, and today's session is going to be very interesting for you. Whenever we talk about success in life, specifically in your career, a lot of emphasis has been paid on communication skills. So you will say, why do I need to learn communication? I already know how to speak. But my friends, communication is not just about speaking. Communication is a two-way process. So communication is a two-way process where a sender sends a message and the receiver receives the message, and then there is a reply. So let's talk about communication, the importance of communication, why do you need to learn communication, and some tips which will help you boost your communication. So as I told, it's a two-way process. There is a sender. Okay, the sender will encode the message. Now what is encoding the message? So you write a letter on a piece of paper and you put it in an envelope and you seal that envelope and you send it to another person. When that person will open the envelope, only then the person will be able to decode the message. Or suppose you write a message in a particular language, but the other person has to use a translator to decode that language. So sender is there, a receiver is there, and then there is a language which is used. So there are different languages in communication, not just your language or your regional language. It is called verbal, non-verbal language. It is called through body language. It is also through gestures. It is also through silent mode of communication. Then there is written communication and email communication as well. So 4 pillars of communication. Number 1 is speaking. What you speak, how you speak, what is the intensity of what you speak, what is your pitch and tone. Second is visual images. Whenever you look at a movie, you just don't remember the dialogues, but you remember what the person was doing, what the person was wearing, what was the expressions on the face. So that is visual images. Third is writing your communication. In business specifically, written communication is used a lot, and what you mean to convey, you will write it down through an email or a letter. And fourth is your body language. What is your posture? What is your stance? Do you have eye contact? How do you interact? How do you use your gestures? And how do you use your voice tone? So why do we need to communicate? Number 1 is to change someone's behavior. Why will you want to change someone's behavior? A parent communicates a message to the child to bring about a change in the behavior. An employer sends a message to the employee to change his or her behavior, because you want a desired behavior from your candidate, from your child, from your friend, from your colleague. You want a certain behavior. For change in that behavior, it is important to convey the right words in the right way, in the right tone. Second is to get action. You want other person to take an action. There is a commanding officer in the police, in the army. He will communicate something in specific words, in a specific tone, because he wants to bring a change in the people in the army. What? Call to action. Take your guns and just destroy the enemy. If you want this to be done, it has to be done through a proper channel of communication. Number 3 is ensure understanding. You want to explain something to some other person. Maybe the doctor wants to communicate something with the family of the patient about his or her condition. So there will be a proper mode of communication, proper way of saying the things to help the patient's family to understand certain important things about his or her health. Next is to give and get information. You want to give information, you want to ask information, you want to receive information, you have to use communication. And last is to persuade. In sales, you want to persuade someone to buy your product, to buy your service, to take your subscription, to invest in your company. You need to use persuasion. You need to convert the person. So that is why communication is so important. So what are the barriers in communication? Barriers in communication. What are the hindrances in communication? What are the hurdles in communication? What comes in the way of communication? Number 1 is that dissatisfaction of disinterest in one's job. You communicate something to someone and that person is not interested in the subject, in his life circumstances. Uninterested, irritated, frustrated, won't listen to you fully, won't give you the desired reply, won't get a call to action. So this can be a major barrier in communication. Second is inability to listen to others. Most of you just hear from your ears, but you don't listen. Listening means also understanding the context of the communication, also being able to understand what is the agenda of the other person's communication, what is the crux of the other person's communication, what is the cream of that other person's communication, and giving a proper reply. So listening is very important. We are not taught how to listen, we are just taught how to respond, we are just taught how to react. So we react in a certain way. We want to win a certain argument. We want to win a certain discussion. So listening is important. Third is lack of transparency and trust. If two people, they don't trust each other, they don't believe each other, don't have that honesty and transparency, then you might not take the other person's communication or words so seriously. Communication style. So I communicate, someone communicates in an aggressive manner, someone in an assertive manner, someone in a passive aggressive manner. So these different types of communication styles can also lead to the message not being decoded properly, because both of them have a different level of styling. Conflict in the workplace. In the workplace, there could be office politics, there could be someone not liking someone, and when there is communication, people don't like you, people don't like what you say, they might not take your communication seriously. Because of this, there will be a loss to the job, there will be a loss to the employer, there will be loss to the company, and this is never tolerated and never the ideal thing to do. And last but not the least is cultural differences. I speak in Punjabi, but you understand just Marathi, and my way of communicating, I'm from south, you are from north, so language barriers also creates a difficulty in communication. So why do we need to improve communication? Because 70% of your communication, 70%, a big number, is misunderstood. What you are intending to say, something else is understood. People misinterpret your information, they don't understand the real meaning, they reject you completely, they reject your communication, they reject what you say, they don't trust you, or they don't give you importance. Distorted. What you are willing to say is not what they are willing to hear, or they don't get the actual message. Maybe it's via different channels, and then the information is lost and they do not hear properly. That is why you need to learn effective communication. So whenever you communicate, right now I am communicating with you with different modes of communication, not just my words. There is a change in the tonal value of the words. There are my hand in the gestures doing its work. It's not just words. If it was just words, it would sound something like this. Today we are learning about communication skills. How are you all? Isn't it robotic? So if you really want to communicate with enthusiasm and energy and want to get all of the attention of your user, then there has to be visual and tonal change in your communication. Verbal is only 7%. Words do not matter. Words are only as important as is your tonal value, as your presentation. So what are different types of errors in communication? Common errors are: first is finishing other sentences. Like you are an astrologer, you are a mind reader, and you know what is going on in his or her head. You want to complete the other person's sentence. You take it for granted. You think you know it all. This is a major hurdle in communication. Second is preparing your response before someone has completed. We all have this habit of interrupting people in between as if it's a competition and I want to finish, I want to be a winner, and this is also a hurdle in communication. Multitasking, you are using your mobile phone, you are writing something, you are sending emails, you are doing something, you are talking to other person, and because of thing the communication is lost because you can't pay attention to the person who is the speaker. Filtering means only taking information as per as your psychology. Whatever you think is right, you absorb that information. Whatever is your mindset, you take that information in that way. And speaking for others means whenever you speak, you try to speak and try to take a stand for other people, even including those other people in your communication. This might lead to errors in communication. So what are the benefits of communication? Number one is that inspires confidence. If you have good communication skills, you can be a good leader, you can create impact in other people's life. People will look up to you, and yes, you will get all the respect you deserve. Second is it helps you build a business and a social life. For a social life to function, you need to communicate with people, gel with people, meet with new people, explore new ideas, and that is possible only because of communication. Helps you make new friends. Just think about your childhood when you were maybe a shy person and you could not make friends, and then people used to say this person talks really less. So means communication begins in your childhood. So if you were taught to listen, to talk, to express, the communication skills start developing. But it is never too late to start and to learn these skills, and reveals your ability to others. Whatever you have inside you, your knowledge, your talent, your skills, whatever you learned in your school, in your college, everything. How will you present this? You have it inside you. You can only present this in the form of good, effective communication. Listen, my friend. So how to be a good listener? Very important tool is that mutual understanding. Don't try to judge the speaker. Don't try to paint the speaker in your psychology. Just think about the speaker as a speaker and an information provider, and then when you listen to the person, you will be able to extract all the information, all the cream, because you are not judging. You are not wearing a glasses, a black glass which prevents you from seeing the right side. Some behaviors that hinder effective communication are if you act distracted. If you act distracted. Right now I'm speaking to you, and if you are looking at your phone, or if you are multitasking or doing something else, I might lose interest. I might lose my enthusiasm. So if you want me to help you in a better manner, if you want me to express you in a better manner, if you want me to create a change in you, you need to be focused on me, not distracted. Because you are here to learn something about your career and create a change in yourself. And if you yourself are distracted, if the service seeker is distracted, won't the service provider be distracted? Next points are if you criticize, interrupt, invalidate the response, be negative, you don't give any response, if you don't listen to them carefully, this can also hinder the process of communication, and it can really spoil your listening skills. Some tips to improve your conversation is that use of good English, avoid the errors, grammatical errors, don't try to copy anyone, be as much as you can be yourself, improved vocabulary, avoid the old phrases, use humor, use your own story, use your funny ways to gel with the audience, add an interesting story, and improve your clarity of your voice. You can speak slower if you want, but don't lose on the clarity and don't lose on the words. Be slow, be steady, be clear. Some last tips I want to share with you on communication skills is that first is simplify and stay on the message. Don't make it very much complicated. Second is engage with your listeners. You talk with your listeners, you take their interview, you ask them questions, you take their introduction, you ask them about their life, you tell them about your life. A two-sided way would be the best way. Where you can improve your communication skills is take time to respond. Someone asks you a question, don't be in a hurry, don't be in that anxiety, don't be in that fear that what if I can't answer. Take your time, take your resources from your brain, do a brainstorming, and then reply, but in the accurate manner. Develop your listening skills. Body language is very important. Maintain eye contact. If you really want to impact someone through your communication, very important to have eye contact with the person and respect your audience. Whoever it is, whatever it is, maybe it's an audience of 100 people, maybe it's just your boss or your subordinate or your colleague or your mother or father or your children, anyone or your friend, whoever you communicate to is your audience, and you have to have a respect for the audience. Don't think of yourself as being a dominant person, a superior person, more knowledgeable person. No, that is a hindrance to communication. You need to think yourself as a communication, as an information giver, and every person who listens to you should be respected for sure. So friends, this was a small presentation on communication skill, the basics of communication. We will come up with another video on communication skills. Hope you like this video. If you like this video, please subscribe to the channel and keep watching Life Coach.